My name's Steve Kraus. Been shoeing horses for a little over 50 years now. Been working for Mustad since 1976 and currently head of Farrier services at Cornell University. So it's been quite a wild ride. And so we're going to talk about matching horse nails to horseshoes, and just like we need to know our anatomy on feet and legs, we need to know our anatomy of a horse nail. So when I talk about a crown or a neck, we know where that is. Pretty simple, straightforward, but it is important to know the difference between each end of the nail, I would think. So criteria for selecting the right horse nail is, first thing you want to think about is, if in a manufactured shoe, is what the horseshoe is punched for. And some of the manufacturers will actually put that on the box. But we're going to talk mostly about common sizes and common horseshoes, what I call everything that lives inside that bell curve, the normal range of things. Sure, there's things on either end that's off the scale. But then, but if we're hand-making shoes, then we certainly want to be thinking about what is the cross-section of the horseshoe we're hand-forging. Are we using thick, heavy, wide stuff or thin, light stuff? Or the size, weight, and thickness of the horseshoe if we're either selecting it or making it. Certainly we want to think about this horse and how big is the hoof, how thin or thick the walls are. We want to think about the condition of the hoof wall. Are we trying to nail a big heavy shoe on a foot that's got not very much healthy hoof wall to nail to? So these are things that go through my mind when thinking about what nail to use. And certainly the duration of the shoeing cycle. And then you may have other considerations that are very particular to your part of the country or the particular horses that you shoe. But you should be thinking about all these things that come together to make it work better for you. So the proper match to the shoe requires that the nail head is sufficient size to hold the shoe on, and that the nail head fits the taper or the hole or the fullering of the shoe, so you don't have something that is not meshing properly with the hole that it's going into. And one of the reasons why some shoes get sheared off is because the nail is not fitting the taper properly. The head does not fit in. We certainly want a shank type that's sufficient size and strength to not shear in the hoof wall. And we want enough shank length to be sufficient to drive our nails up high enough for the type of foot we're going into, and especially if we're driving through pads. And it's okay to repunch and resize or back punch nail holes to get your nails to fit properly. And one of the things you can do is look at the end of your punch, your pritchel, and match that up with the cross section right below at the neck, right below the head. And you should have a very similar configuration there. And if you're punching shoes, your model for your punch should be the same as the nail head you're punching for. So you want to make sure all that fits properly for a good match. And when we're matching these nails to shoes, it's pretty simple. Your lighter weight shoes are going to have smaller, slimmer nails. Your race nail series, your slim blades and lights, your small sizes of MX, concaves, all these are slimmer, lighter, smaller head nails. And as you get into your standard weight shoes, that's the most that we see, the 5 City Head, the 5XL, the 5 Slim Blade, 5 Combo. Again, all of these are normal, everyday nails that can be used depending upon the brand and type of shoe you're using. And then as you get into your heavyweight and larger sizes, now you're getting into your 6 City Heads and 6 Combos and Concave 5 and MX 60 and 65, E5 Slim, or just E5s, which are fairly substantial nails. And then as you get in your light draft sizes, 7s and 8s, and your heavy draft sizes, 9 and 10 regular head. CAPEWELL used to produce these really nice posters. I wish they would bring them again. I got a bunch of them hanging in my house. got to talk a little bit about rolled nails versus forged nails. So your rolled nails are your CAPEWELL Cooper Delta. It's a multi-roller process that I reviewed last year here. We're not going to talk about today because we don't have a lot of time. But it's the one machine with many, many moving parts, and the wire goes in the top and out the bottom comes the nail. The Mustad forging process, they call it cold forging, is very fast, more abrupt transformation with these forging dies, and it uses two machines. One machine makes the blank, and the second machine finishes the nail, puts the point in the head. And so the features of rolled nails are they're low-carbon steel. It's a round wire that gets rolled into square. It's a multi-step process. It's mainly for the North American market. They're very strong, durable nails, and they're very well suited to the dry climates we have here. And they're originally developed for a U-style crease, but a V crease now is being produced on a lot of shoes, and as long as that is produced at the proper angle for the head, you can drive that in the V crease shoes that are coming out. And they were very, specifically developed for specific shoes on the North American market. And the forged nails, it's a very extra low carbon steel, and the wire comes in big rolls, and they heat treat the wire first. And I've been to Mustad Forest in Dalslangen, Sweden, and they put these big rolls of wire in this kiln, and they heat it up to a certain temperature and let it cool overnight. And so that has been annealed. And again, these two machines with fewer dies, very precise points, and very precise production control. They do a lot of testing of the nails right through the process. And they service the worldwide market with 37 families, 245 different types of nails, and for all known shoes. Another great little poster CAPEWELL used to put out from early 1900s shows how romantic driving a horse is rather than being focused on your car. And we'd like to talk a little bit about city head versus regular head. A lot of people don't understand that. The city head was derived from the regular head. The regular head was mostly used on farm horses. And as they started driving horses in the city, these heads that are meant to protrude out of the shoe were wearing off and loosening shoes. And so the city head was created for city usage. It goes in a shallower crease, whereas the regular head is made for a deeper crease these days. The shank's the same size for the size nail. So the city head, only the crown protrudes above, whereas the regular head has a much bigger crown meant to protrude above. And they can give you a little minor traction on dirt as well. And so the city head series is the most widely used style of nail in the United States. Most common horseshoes are punch for the city head series, and especially the 5 city head is the most common nail, and all its versions of the 5XL, the 5 Light Cooper, the 5 Combo, the 5, they're all city head series. And so here you see a huge range in these 3 brands of all these different city head type nails. And the recommendations that I put out is 4.5 city head is only made by Mustad, and that's a triple aught or double aught US keg shoes. Very nice nail to use on those shoes. 5 city head, again, most common nail for size aught 1 and 2. 6 city head, all brands, goes into size 3 and size 4. 7 city head goes in your lighted, padded, gated shoes, and then 8 city head can be used on some of your lighter draft shoes. Some people prefer that. And shoes for city head series, again, is the St. Croix Plain Rim Series, Easy Pluses, your Kirkart SX8s, Durers, and Standards. All could take a 5 city head. Diamond Bronco shoes, very popular nail for this country. Whereas your regular head series is used on your thicker, heavier shoes. Tendency now is to use it on 3/8 and 1/2-inch plain stamp shoes. The head protrudes well above the shoe, which gives a little traction and makes it much easier to pull that individual nail out because you can grab a hold of it with your shoe pullers, whereas you cannot grab a nail with your crease nail pullers. So it makes it easier to pull these nails out. And it's mostly used on gated and draft shoes, But some guys use the regular head series as a reset nail. If that crease is getting a little bit worn, but the shoe is not, or you got drill techs on it, they'll use a regular head sometimes to extend the life of the shoe. And a pretty big range in that regular head series, 5 through 16, and the head size is the same from 10 up. So you just get increased length. You don't have a bigger head. So once you get into a size 10, you got to use my little copper washer trick to fill that hole. Regular head series nail usage is 5 and 6 regular head is used on your larger size keg shoes and your light Arabian and Morgan shoes. 7s and 8 regular heads, again, on the half-inch gated shoes, as well as some of the 3/8 size 6 and 7 draft shoes. And then as you get into your heavy gated shoes and larger draft shoes, pretty much half-inch thick shoes, you want to be using a 9 or a 10 regular head. And then the 12 and 16s are used in gated horse packages when if you're not double nailing a horse and you're, nailing a package way up. And certainly on the show, draft, padded, and hitch horses, if you want to nail behind the flares and really get a good nail, you need a 16 to get up there with all that thickness. So obviously big shoes do need big nails. Standard versus slim shank. So it pretty explains itself. Standard shank is stiffer and stronger than a slim shank. Best used on thicker walls, heavier shoes, harder hooves, and that's your city head and regular head or standard shank nails. Then your slim shanks are thinner, much more flexible, used on thin walls, lighter shoes. You have much less hoof wall displacement. And I use mostly slim shank nails on most of the horses I shoe. Even if they've got good walls. I have no problem keeping shoes on. Slim blades, combos, lights, MX, concave are all slim shank nails. Combo nail is the first slim style nail. I designed it in 1978. We combined a 5-city head with a 4.5 shank, and that's why we called it the combo. I never really liked the name, but it seemed to have stuck, and now I can't get away from it. But that was the first nail of its kind to be able to do that, and it was the forerunner to all of these light and slim nails. And there it is, and then we came out with a 6 combo for the same reason. And then again, everybody's making some form of that. And again, these best suited for thin-walled hooves. And you can even get some of these slim blade nails into the race nail series. Not suited for dry, thick, hard feet. They'll bend on you, they'll shear, but they can be used mostly on anything you could use a city head on. That's for that size. And Cooper produces a 10 and 12 light, which is a much longer regular head style nail with a very long slim shank. So that for the gated horse market, so you could direct nail in through pad packages and not have such a heavy nail in the hoof wall. Shoe recommendations for slim, light, and combo nails. Again, anything St. Croix makes in the light plane, light rim series, light heel, easy fit, advantage, eventer. But I'll use it on almost any nails suitable to the head size. And St. Croix aluminum eventers and easy, all again good for slim blade light type nails. Delta Challenger in the 7 millimeter. Any lighter shoe, Kirkard SX7. Again, these are light shoes. They don't need as much nail. And do the horse a favor and don't drive thick nails into light, thin walls. There is an extra long series, extra shank length for driving higher nails, mostly through pads. And they come in E styles as well as American head styles. 5XL is a very popular nail, and I actually like driving that 5XL. I seem to like a longer nail to drive, personally. Another little good poster from CAPEWELL is this dude sits on this hot shoe and burns his butt. Race nails. Typically in the United States, used on thoroughbred and quarter horse flat racers as well as standardbred shoes. They have the smallest head, the thinnest shanks, and that's the shortest duration shoeing cycles. And so, 80-90% of the aluminum racing plates that are nailed on are nailed on with a 3.5 race nail. And in the standardbreds, same thing. 80-90% of those shoes are nailed on with a 4.5 race nail. Thicker bone horses, a little bit different type of horse, thicker hoof walls. And then training plates and light steel, racing shoes, lighter aluminum shoes, sliding plates, 5-race nail is quite popular. And then we make a 3-race nail, and I've shod lots of yearlings and even horses younger than a year with a 3-race nail. Works pretty good. And here's the range of the CAPEWELL race nail series, 3 through 5. Have a nice little range. These are very light nails for short shoeing intervals, lighter shoes. The E series is that classic European square head. We call that a long neck nail, and it's just a very durable nail made for very hard service and thicker sections. And most European shoes are punched for that. The Kirkard SN and SSP series, and your 10 and 12 millimeter thick concave sections. Very good nail for that. And they make a slim series also, but you see the slim series does not go very high as far as size. It's more for the lighter type shoes because you want a slimmer nail. And Delta also makes a nice little slim series that's pretty handy. And the Equilibrium steel and Kirkard steel comfort, 8 and 10 millimeter European punch shoes, anywhere where less hoof wall displacement is desired. The E Slim series works pretty nicely. The MX series, we came up with that one years ago. It's this hybrid between the E and City head, and it can be used similarly. It has a more of a tapered type head, but it's more of an oblong head. And the original one was actually 50 millimeters long, and that's why we called it the MX50. And then as we started making the others, they weren't conforming to that length. It just was a natural progression. So the MX50 is the only one that's 50 millimeters long. And so we've had to kind of stick with that. And those work also in your Mustad aluminum equilibriums really well. It's a slim shank nail. Can be used in the Kirkard aluminum comfort, the Kirkard roller series, St. Croix light rims you can use the MXs on. Workman 8 millimeter shoes, a lot of these lighter European punch shoes. And MX is LX and VX just as a copy of the MX series, no matter what brand you have. They're all the same as far as size. Concave series, we decided to come up with a nail that really filled that concave groove up a bit better, but it's a slim shank nail, so it's got a pretty big head in relation to the shank, and so it's only made in size 3 through 4 and 5, but it's specifically made for the concave shoes, and it works pretty well for the lighter end of that. And then the Arc series was the first nail that was specifically designed around a shoe that they were producing, the Librio Horseshoes. It's got this rounded head, which you can drive at any angle easier, and it has a very nice pitch to it. It's a very easy nail to control, to drive up. And you don't have to use this nail specifically on the Librio shoes. You can use it anywhere where you've used the MX nail or E-Slim nail. It's a very versatile nail. You can interchange these nails a lot. You don't have to stick exactly what I'm saying here. And then we have some specialty nails. The road nail, you can see on the top, has a little carbide tip. It's not the same as Boreum or Drilltex, but you can give a little bit of a grip to the horse. And they come in a nice little range of sizes. That frost nail in the middle, that material that protrudes above the crown there is the same material as the nail. It's very soft. It's not a hard material, but it will hold up pretty well on ice and snow. It'll wear off on pavement. And then the mud nails give you a little extra penetration in mud, developed for some in Spain originally, but it's used in Europe in some places. And not a lot of interest in these nails, but still there are people who do like them. And then as we finish through here, a couple other odd nails. We have the 5-PLATER'S Special on the left. And that's 5 shank with a very tiny head that fits in the groove of a polo plate. And then the 5 COUNTERSUNK is meant to drive straight into the sliding plates, so there's, it's a flush, meant to be a flush fitting nail. Some people use the countersunk nail on sliders. Other people use a race nail, 4.5 race nail or 5 race nail on sliding plates. But that nail can be used also. So now, go nail it. Thank you.